Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Verge Podcast. I am your host, Virgil Edwards. As always, the goal of this show is to keep you from the brink of ignorance and on the verge of intelligence when it comes to American politics. You know, again, ever since the election, the Democrats have been on a warpath, whining and crying and complaining and blaming every single thing they can except themselves for why their chosen one, Hillary Clinton, was defeated soundly by one Donald J. Trump. The latest in this whining and complaining is all about Russia. Yes, President Obama has put out sanctions against Russia for supposedly interfering in our elections, even though there is absolutely positively zero evidence that Russia did anything involving our elections. Zero evidence. If this were going to a court of law in a trial today, the case would be thrown out of court and Russia would be declared innocent because no evidence is being presented. But he isn't alone. No, he's not alone. You got the likes of Senator John McCain and Lindsey Graham and the House Speaker Paul Ryan in the Republican Party all, completely behind the blame Russia agenda. It is not a coincidence that these three individuals all were very vocal against Donald Trump becoming president. They haven't liked Donald Trump from the beginning, when Donald Trump came out and said that the Iraq War was a mistake. That made them mad because their prominence was solely built around the ideology that America needed to be at war. We needed to invade Iraq. We needed to invade Afghanistan. We needed to be at war, even though they refused to ever demand that Congress do their job and declare war, as Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution dictates. They were all of the opinion that we would be better off if Hillary Clinton had won. And of course, from their perspective, they would have been better off. Not America, they would have been. Because Hillary Clinton is clearly a war hawk. Again, there is zero evidence to suggest that Russia had anything to do with affecting the elections that took place this past November. Why, in the last 22, 23 days of Obama's presidency, is he going to such lengths? Well, it's simple. He's a petulant child. Our president, Barack Hussein Obama, is a petulant child. He is someone that when he doesn't get his way, he stomps his feet up and down, huffs and puffs, rants and raves, blames everyone but himself. Because that is a prerequisite of a liberal in America today. Is you got to be willing to blame anyone and everyone except for yourself. And all this going on, with Obama expelling Russia's 35 diplomats and all this nonsense. It's really nonsense because when President Trump takes over, all this is going away. And Paul Ryan, Speaker Ryan, he needs to go. He needs to be removed from his position. He's not a Republican. He's not acting like a Republican. He's not acting like a conservative. He's certainly not acting under the wisdom of the Constitution. We are $20 trillion in debt. We cannot afford more war. Americans do not want more war. There's people out there saying, oh, if you believe Russia and believe Vladimir Putin over our own intelligence agencies and our own president, then you are a communist, that you're not patriotic. I'm like, excuse me? I mean, sorry, but for the last 8 years, we've had a president that has shown complete willingness to lie to the American people. Does anyone remember Affordable Care Act? Anyone remember that Americans will be able to keep the doctor, keep your plan? No, none of that is true. I mean, he's played right around 300 rounds of golf since being president? And yet we're supposed to just take his blame of Russia with zero evidence at face value and trust him? I mean, something is very bad wrong with liberals today. I mean, very bad wrong. They have no position, no credible position to be talking about what it means to be patriotic. Dissent of one's own government that's gone out of control is much more related to what it means to be patriotic than accepting at face value without evidence whatsoever anything the government says. One of the biggest things to come out of the election, besides Hillary losing, is this concept of fake news. Ever since the election, all the media that you see on TV and read in the newspapers, all they've been talking about is fake news. Oh, fake news is to blame. And I'm sorry, but they are the purveyors of fake news. They don't care about putting out the truth. All they care about is being the first one to say something. They don't care if it's accurate. They don't care what agenda is being served by the story, as long as they say it first. Journalism in America is dead. You know what killed it? Political correctness. That's what killed journalism in America. You cannot watch CNN, MSNBC, even Fox News. You can't watch them and expect to be educated, informed. You can't read newspapers like the New York Times, LA Times, Chicago Tribune. You can't read those newspapers and expect to be told what's going on with any amount of truth. They're all in bed to serve the liberal agenda of one world government, the New World Order, leaving people like me to continue to fight the cultural Marxism that's taking place in America. We have these liberal professors like the one at Drexel saying, all I want for Christmas is white genocide. And I'm like, he's white. What's wrong with him? I mean, is this like a cry for help? Is this like a plea that, he's thinking of suicide? I mean, what is this? You're liberal so that you're all of a sudden, immune from being white? I mean, these people are mentally screwed up in the head. They need medicine. They need psychological help. I hear Obamacare covers that. But here's the saddest thing about all this. The saddest thing of all this is that on January 20th, we will have a new president. His name is Donald J. Trump. And while I have my reservations about him, here's the thing. I know, just from his personality and his success in his life, that he will make a much better use of the term, or maybe 2 terms that he will have. Much better than what Barack Obama did. As for people like Paul Ryan and John McCain and Lindsey Graham, they will be going away. Eventually, the hands of time will take people like John McCain and Lindsey Graham out of this world, and we will be better off for it. That's something else I wanted to touch on. Everybody's in the last week has been, boo-hooing about all these celebrities that have died in 2016. The latest being Carrie Fisher and her mother, I think, Debbie Reynolds. Yeah, it's sad that they died, but you know what? Here's the thing. The mass majority of you people boo-hooing over those celebrities have said absolutely nothing and continue to remain silent on the massacres that take place in areas like Chicago, where over 700 people have been killed. Black on black crime is atrocious there. But no, all you people want to worry about is how many celebrities have died. I mean, that's just pathetic. I've seen people boo-hoo about Carrie Fisher like they knew her personally, as if they spent their entire lives around her. I mean, people boo-hooed about her that probably wouldn't get on social media and talk about their own relatives that died. And for what? I mean, it's just sad. It really is sad how we're willing to speak out on behalf of celebrities, but we're not willing to speak out on behalf of our loved ones and our neighbors. I've only got about a minute left, so I'll leave you with this. You should never, if a person's an elected representative of this country, you should never believe a word they say unless they present evidence. Especially accusations of vote rigging or vote hacking. You just shouldn't. There's no patriotism in blindly believing what your elected officials have to say. Again, this is the Verge Podcast. I am your host, Virgil Edwards. Make sure you share this show with your friends and family on social media like Twitter, Facebook, Google+, whatever your choice. And as always, stay on the verge of intelligence.